Turning now to yesterday's deadly terror attack in Barcelona, investigators believe the suspects may have been planning an even larger attack. Documents found in a house where an explosion occurred provided a link to the suspects in the Barcelona van attack and a possible plot that could have involved a vehicle bomb and the use of gas canisters. Hours after the attack in Barcelona, police stopped a second attack in the town of Cambrils, shooting and killing 5 men who had driven a car into another crowd. In Las Ramblas today, people lit candles and laid flowers and toys in tribute to the dead. The United States has vowed to help Spain in whatever way is needed. CBS News foreign correspondent Elaine Cobbe is in Barcelona. So, Elaine, what is the latest?
Well, Vlad, the investigation continues here, of course, and police union officials are telling journalists that they believe that the man who drove the van into Las Ramblas was killed in that police operation in Cambrils down the coast this morning. Now, it's not clear if that is the case, because the officials here are saying that they are yet to identify him. They are still working on the forensics to see if they can come up with the identity of that truck driver. They have 4 people in custody. They've also issued arrest warrants for 5 more. And we're hearing they are also looking for a van that was rented by some of the suspects, which, of course, here now French authorities are saying it's not impossible that perhaps they've already driven north into France, not very far away.
And Elaine, certainly that will come as a relief to many people there in Spain that perhaps the driver of the vehicle was killed by police, but you point out that there are still 5 others on the loose. So this investigation, as far as we understand, is still ongoing.
Absolutely. It's far from over. There's still a lot to be learned about whether this was a bigger cell than they found. The police chief earlier today said he believed that the explosion of a house in nearby 2 days ago was linked, that in fact the cell of 11 to 15 terrorists had been storing gas canisters, had been working up a plot for more attacks or bigger attacks, and that when this house exploded that they were forced to act, and perhaps they decided to simply go with the van, drive it into Las Ramblas in order to hit as many people as possible. They're looking also, of course, to find who these people were, whether they were inspired by ISIS or, as US intelligence are suggesting to us, that they were in fact commanded by ISIS in northern Iraq, Syria, and that of course is something that will make them much more concerned about who they were. Are there any more of them? Were they planning anything else?
Elaine, I know it's still very early in the investigation, but what are you hearing and learning about the long-term impact on security in Spain going forward?
Well, US intelligence have already been telling the Spanish before this attack that they were concerned that it could be a target. French counterintelligence officers told me the same thing late last year when they said somewhere like Barcelona is a perfect target for those who want to hit at large groups of people in a random way, and particularly people out enjoying themselves. And that's something that will cause much more terror, because it's hard to know if you're really in danger. And so, however, here people are going about their daily life again. There's very much a strong sentiment here that people do not want to give in to fear. There are signs up everywhere saying we will not give in. And people have been out and about. They're still enjoying the sunshine, eating in cafes, but definitely a little jumpier. We were on Las Ramblas earlier at the makeshift memorials, and there was a sudden flurry of movement from police, including riot police, and they were telling people to get back, and people were visibly scared, thinking, is something happening or what's going on? So people still a little bit jumpy. But the Prime Minister here has said, we are not going to give in. Counterterrorism is a priority, and he reiterated that when he spoke earlier with President Trump, who called to offer his support and the affection of the American people to the Spanish.
Elaine, finally, I want to ask you about the survivors of the attack. You've spoken to some of them. What are we learning about some of the victims?
The victims came from so many nationalities. This is a very popular area. There are so many tourists at this time of year. One of the largest groups seems to have been French. There were 26 French people injured here in Barcelona, 11 of them very seriously, but there were Americans, there were Australians, an Australian child. There are several small children who were injured here, and we are learning more about those who died. The State Department has confirmed one American died. We've also heard that there was an Italian father who was in the way of that van, and he was carrying his child at the time, and his wife and their second child right behind them, and he was killed right in front of them. So a lot of tales of the sadness of families, and a lot of families with victims coming in. But of course, those who were in the hospitals, there are 8 hospitals around the city with people there, and they too getting visits from family, and of course being asked questions by the police as part of the investigation.
All right, Elaine Cobbe reporting for us in Barcelona. Elaine, as always, we thank you very much.
You're welcome.